Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses, you can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of the town. It's Amber Live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabareting on Amber Live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all cell phones and get ready for your host, Amber LeMay.
Hello. Happy Sunday evening, folks, and welcome to Amber Live, episode 87. 87 weeks we've been here every Sunday night to bring you some quality entertainment. Great start so far, so let's bring Russell in to find out what's next. Hey, Russell.
Hey, Amber, how are you?
I'm doing well. How's the weather in New York City today?
It was beautiful today, actually. I went out for a nice walk, and it was in the high 40s. It's up to, I don't think it hit 50, but it was pretty nice out.
Well, good. It was sunny here in Vermont, a little chilly, but we're going to get to 50 tomorrow with rain and wind, and then let's go back down again. Yeah, it's one of those weeks. So, yes. So, Russell, what's the best way for people to watch the show tonight?
Well, I want to tell people, as always, if we have new viewers tonight, the best place to watch is on our YouTube channel, and that's because on YouTube we are in full HD, so you get to see all the details and all the beauty. And then I want to remind people about our TikTok channel, which is Amber LeMay Live. You can find all kinds of fun things there. We have lots of TikToks that you won't find on the show. So, and you'll see some clips from the show and lots of other things. So check out TikTok. And if you can watch us on YouTube, go there and watch us. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.
like, share, subscribe, like I should have said at the beginning of the show.
Like you should have said.
If you want to subscribe.
Get used to that.
And you should subscribe. That way you get notice when we go live. And we go live almost, I think, every Wednesday night around 8:15 to 9:15 for an hour or so, and have Amber Chat. And this past Wednesday, we had people from, I made a list here, from California, Washington, Montana, Illinois, Ohio, Florida, Tennessee, New York, Vermont, as well as the Canadian provinces of Newfoundland and Quebec, all chatting with us on Wednesday night. I know we had viewers, others who weren't chatting with us. And already tonight, I see people from Florida and Ohio and Tennessee and New York already commenting, and of course Vermont commenting. So it's a great community that we have. And on Wednesday night, we call ourselves the Amber Crew, or Amber Screw, if you say it fast. And, we talk about what we have for dinner, what television shows we watch, and just what's happening in the news. And it's just a nice get-together of people. So that's Wednesday night.
Whatever the audience wants to talk about.
Yes. And I know what you want to talk about, Russell.
Yes, the Boostiers, the people who help us out and keep us going. You can see there a list of our Boostiers. Last week we added, actually our guest from last week, James Lance, decided to become a Boostier and help us out. And if you would like to be a Boostier, you can use that Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to amberlive.tv, and there's a support Amber Live button there where you can go to contribute. And that helps keep the show going and growing. And if you can give any amount you can afford, and that would be greatly appreciated. But if you give $25 or more, I will send you a sticker of our logo. For $100 or more, you get a sticker and a magnet. And for $200 or more, you get a sticker, a magnet, and a mug with the logo on it. And those are great mugs. And a few people have been helping us upgrade our technology recently, so thanks to all of them. And again, it's the Venmo at RJD Pro if you'd like to help us out. We really appreciate it because there are expenses to doing this. And as we're growing, we're getting some amazing guests like Carol Baskin. And we've got some coming up in January that we haven't released yet that are very exciting. And so thank you all to our bustiers. You're very important to us. Thank you.
And what's exciting is looking at that list is like a third of them are past guests of the show. So they had such a good time and they see the value of it and they want to support it. So that's pretty cool too. When after they get off the show, going, hey, that was worth my time. So that was cool. All right, Russell, do we have a picture to look at this week?
We do have a caption. We have the first Christmas tree picture of the year that we're posting. And here it is. If you have a funny caption for this picture, send it in the comments to Jack, label it as a caption. And at the end of the show, we'll talk about these. Somebody went to a lot of work on that tree.
Yeah, a lot of work. A lot of work.
I didn't say it was good work. I just said it was a lot of work.
That's for sure. Very good. All right, now let's get on with the show. Tell us who the guests are tonight.
So, we have some amazing guests tonight.
Always do.
Yes, we have all the way. Well, for us, it's all the way. If you happen to live there, it's close by, thanks to the interwebs. From Calgary, we have Madam Ivy Dripp, who is a drag queen who does drag bingo and has her own podcast. And she's going to be a lot of fun to chat with. And she also has a house full of cats, so watch out. And then we have tonight a very special guest, our first minor league baseball player, Kieran Lovegrove, who is going to come on and talk with you about a variety of things, including, I believe, the conditions of working as a minor league baseball player, which he's working very hard to improve. So that should be
Kieran was in our headlines back in September when he announced he came out as being bisexual. He's one of the first Major League Baseball players to end up being coming out as bisexual, and so we talked about that. And he played in Vermont a few times too. So we may have run into each other. So
you might have.
We'll have to do some note checking on that.
Or did you used to do something out on the field at the games there?
Yes, I did, and almost in the dugout a few times too.
Well, that's a whole other story.
All right, Russell, we'll get on with the show. Thank you so much, and we'll call you back in later on.
All right, have fun.
Plus, we've got Rusty Peen, and we've got Rocco, and we've got a lot going on. We've got
the usual messy characters.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Russell. Yes, we've got a great lineup tonight. So let's get started. So her name's Ivy Dripp, a drag queen from Canada, and I don't know that much more about her. So let's find out. Ivy, come on in. Hey, girl.
Hey, Amber.
Hello. Welcome to Amber Live. So tell me, where did Madam Ivy Dripp begin? What are her roots, those turquoise roots?
So those turquoise roots are natural, just to clear that up. It grows out this way. But Madam Ivy actually got her start, was doing participating in a lot of drag bingos, actually. And they always had themes. And me and my husband we love to get into costume and we love to dress up. So any theme is a good reason to dress up. And one time it came around that drag was the theme, and we looked at each other and we said, you know what, let's do it. Let's go all in. And Madam Ivy Dripp just was born that night, right then and there.
And how long ago was this?
This was almost a year ago now.
All right.
Feels like it was yesterday now, actually.
Yes. Time flies when you're having fun.
It's been an absolute blast. That's why I started hosting my own bingos for my friends' birthdays and special events and stuff like that. And that's how I got into the whole online hosting gig, and loved it so much that now you can't ask me to stop. You can't make me.
It's amazing. People say, "Oh, COVID was terrible. COVID was terrible." But a lot of good things came out of it too. This show, Amber Live, being, I think, one of them, because I wouldn't have started this if it wasn't if I wasn't stuck at home, and then not able to go out and actually talk to people. But it's opened up a whole new world for me, and I've met people from all over the world, and it's like such as yourself. What do you like most about bingo? Why did you latch on to bingo?
So I'm one of those kids that was fortunate enough to be able to go to the bingo hall with my mother once upon a time, back when they didn't really care if, you brought your kids or people weren't of age to get into the bingo hall. So I have very fond memories of going to the bingo hall and inhaling too much cigarette smoke, as one does at the bingo hall, as a young child, and just like loving the atmosphere and the vibe of it. It's a very exciting room to be in when people are playing bingo. And I love the diehards, the people with the like 30 cards in front of them and the dabber in each hand, and they can't stop. I love it.
And their little statues and good luck charms everywhere.
Good luck charms. Yes. I love that whole thing. It's very reminiscent of game shows to me. And I used to watch a lot of game shows with my mom. So it all ties into that. It's all very, fond memories with my mother.
Do you have any favorite games in bingo?
Favorite games? This is going to sound very boring, but I'm actually, a big fan of the classic line. It's a nice, easy game. There's not a lot of questions. You can keep doing it over and over again. It doesn't complicate the process. That being said, I do like making fun shapes. I just, sometimes when everyone's having their cocktails and we're on Zoom and no one has to drive anywhere, the bingo calling gets a little bit difficult.
Oh, right. Very good.
There's a lot of, what shape are we doing? What's the pattern we're doing again? And, what's the call word? And
tell me about your podcast. Tell me what's that about?
So my podcast is...
She's freezing, or am I? Go ahead. Oh, someone's freezing. Am I freezing?
Okay. Nope, I see you.
Okay.
The podcast started during the pandemic. Another person I met through online drag events was thinking about starting a podcast, and I was like, I always wanted to do something in the audio format, just because I've always enjoyed it. I've been around a lot of radio people in my life, so I've always enjoyed the audio format. So she's like, well, why don't you join me and let's do this together? So we decided to do a podcast, and essentially the whole concept is we're just two girls kikiing in the back room at the drag show, getting ready, doing our thing. We have guests. So we've had some amazing guests on the show that have done some amazing work in South Florida drag, as well as we had a queen from Arizona, Rosie Bush, another queen who does an amazing podcast called Blaze All Our Lives that we've had. Her name is Sister Indica. So obviously I'm a big fan of Sister Indica. But yeah, no, the whole point is just, it's just a good old fashioned talk show is the whole point. So we just really like to, anything and everything is on the table. And let me tell you, we have talked about everything, including the weather in the moment. Like everything is on the table.
Well, yeah, if you're talking, it's what happens, whenever you're talking with someone. Is it a regularly scheduled one, or is it?
So we come out every 2 weeks on Fridays. So our last episode just came out this passing Friday. We have a bonus episode coming out just because we had so much to talk about this week that we just decided to slide it in for another Friday. So we actually have a new episode coming out on this Friday. And you can actually find us on every platform that podcasts are available. So Apple, Spotify, everywhere. We're all over the place.
So what's going on there in Calgary? Is everything opened up? Are you going out?
So Calgary is a little bit open, a little bit closed. We're kind of doing the different rules for vaccinated people and unvaccinated people. So if you're vaccinated, you're allowed to go out to restaurants, you're allowed to sit down and eat. You just have to prove your status, as well as concerts and events are along those same lines. Essentially, the only thing you can do unvaccinated is go to the grocery store.
Very good.
So it's good. It's nice. I'm starting to go out more with my husband. We're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable going out into public and, partaking in those social activities again.
Definitely. So Ivy has been on, playing bingo virtually, and the podcast. Has Ivy been out in public?
Yes, Ivy was fortunate enough to be given some passes by one of her favorite vodka soda companies. They're local Calgary. Shout out to Gradient. They brought me to Beer Fest so that I could come to Calgary Beer Fest and spread the love of their product and enjoy the festivities.
So what was that again? I heard vodka. What
Oh,
was that?
so it's a Gradient vodka sodas, and what they do is they go down in strength. So they start at 8%, 6%, 4%, to 3%, 2%. So it
Ooh,
allows you to pace yourself without having to think about it.
well that
So
that that's a,
for
that
a
sounds
drag
like
queen, it's a really
I
good thing.
know because we can lose track very very quickly.
One drink, 5 drinks. I mean, it's all the same, isn't it?
Oh, VJ Trans talking. VJ. All right, we have
Oh,
Connecticut in the
thank you.
house. Oh, great. VJ's a good friend of ours. He comes to Winter Rendezvous in Stowe, Vermont every week. It's
Oh,
a
that's
big gay
lovely.
ski weekend in Vermont. So, hey, VJ, nice seeing you. All right. Question for Ivy. Have you ever been to Newfoundland?
I actually have not had the pleasure of being to Newfoundland, but two of my best friends are actually from there that I grew up with in Ontario, and they both one of them lives there with both her mom and her dad now. So I have many reasons to go to Newfoundland.
Do you have visions of performing when you go out? When you went to those the beer festival and things, did you perform or just make an appearance? Not just.
So Beer Fest was actually my first outing in public in drag. So it was really just kind of feeling it out and sussing it out, and kind of being in public and owning that confidence. But I actually have some plans to do some work with some local queens here in Calgary. I'm trying to talk to a queen about maybe doing a trivia night here to spice things up. I do love trivia as well. I used to do it when I worked up in Edmonton for a marketing company. So I think doing trivia would be another great thing. It would be a great way to integrate what I'm already doing into the real world.
Very good. Well, you go, girl, and good luck to you. Thank you for coming on Amber Live tonight, and we'll have you back later on for a special segment. All right.
Absolutely. Amber, thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Oh, yes, yes. We'll see you soon. Bye bye. All right. It's that time of year where whether it be on TV commercials, on your radio, or any place you go, you're going to hear some Christmas music. So I was curious about some history of the Christmas music that you hear. And did you know Brenda Lee was only 13 years old when she recorded "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" in 1958? She was only 13 years old. Johnny Marks, a Jewish man, wrote "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree," "Run, Rudolph, Run," and "Have a Holly Jolly Christmas." A Jewish man. Happy Hanukkah. The first song to mention Santa Claus was Benjamin Hanby's "Up on the Housetop." That was written in 1864. Now, Hanby was inspired by Clement Moore's 1923 poem, "A Visit from St. Nicholas." John Lennon and Yoko Ono recorded "Happy Xmas, War is Over" in 1971 with the Harlem Community Choir as a protest song against the Vietnam War. And who has sold more Christmas songs than anyone else? Well, Bing Crosby must come close with "White Christmas" in 1942, "I'll Be Home for Christmas" in 1943, and then 34 years later, "Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy" duet with David Bowie. That's a big span and a lot of Christmas songs. So next time you hear one of those songs, think about what Amber said. All right. We get a lot of reaction every time this guy's on the show. So let's find out what Rusty Pena's up to tonight.
Thinking and drinking with Rusty Bean. What's up, bud? This here is Rusty Bean from the Beaver Pond Guns and Taco Society, and our mission is to arm more drag queens because a loaded drag queen is a safe drag queen. Dude, today on Thinking and Drinking, we're doing it yourself at home with yourself, and we're gonna be mounting a TV, bud. Dude, just like mounting a prize-winning Bocker. No, you do a shot. All you need is the Bock and a screw, and then you screw it, dude. So let's do that, you know? Okay, bud. Start off with a bottle of champagne right here, bud. Good champagne, bud. Okay, dude. Next thing we're gonna be doing, bud. Using the fucking power tools, bud. Okay. There's probably something written down about how high you should be when you're using the power tools. But we can't remember what that is, bud. So let's call it Hillary Project, you know? But we're gonna take this here amount right here, and step 2 is you gotta find a hole and you gotta screw the hole. So pick out your favorite hole and give it a good screw, bud. We got 6 holes today, but we're only gonna use 4 screws, huh? Sometimes that's how it goes. You do the best count 2 as you got, don't you know it, bud? Okay, bud. First thing first, we mark it here on the wall where the fuck it's gonna go. We got this little spider mark right here. So next thing you do, bud, fix this over on the wall. Dude, got another fucking tool right here. Leveler. Don't want to have to do this twice, you know? Fuck. Okay, bud. That looks pretty fucking good. Now we're gonna mark the holes where the fucking screws gonna go, you know? Okay, bud. So we go. Okay, bud. Before we start with the fucking power tools, you're gonna fucking mark up the fucking wall. Just double check, make your choice. Cut once, dude, huh? Don't get any debris in your eyes, buddy. You gotta protect that shit. So here we go, bud. Okay. Alright, bud. Now we're ready for the screwing. Dude, fucking battery's dead, dude. Shit. Gonna have to charge the shit out of that fucking battery and we'll be right fucking back, you know?
Thinking and drinking with Rusty Bean.
I guess we'll have to wait till next week to find out what happens in part 2. Russell, come on in.
Oh, the suspense, the suspense.
There's a part 2 coming up, huh?
Yes.
All right. So coming up, we've got Kieran Lovegrove, the minor league baseball player, and we've got Rocco, and then Jack will be back with the caption. Speaking of the caption, show that picture one more time.
Yes, if you've got a great caption, label it and send it in to Jack for that picture. Can you hear me, Amber?
I can hear you, but you're crackling. You're crackling in my ears.
I just got a note from Jack saying I sounded funny. Let me check my...
Yeah, it does sound crackly. I thought...
that's weird.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Is that any better?
That's better. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
One
All
more
right.
plug for the Bustiers.
Yes, now that we're not crackly, let's not forget the Bustiers. They are the people that really help us out. And you can become a Bustier using Venmo at RJD Pro, or you can go to amberlive.tv and use the support Amber Live button. And it is vital to keeping this show on the stream, and we really do appreciate it. You guys are a big help. Thank you.
That's right. And another way to help, let's have a word from our sponsor. Ho, ho, ho. What? That's not what that means? Ugh. Ho, ho, ho. Merry holidays, everyone. There are so many holidays out there this time of year, and we hope you all have a safe and happy one. If you need a gift for someone, why not visit the Amber Live store? We have warm hoodies for the season, great t-shirts, amazing mugs, amazing mugs, super tote bags, and the most comfy pillows. Visit amberlive.tv and order some for your very special loved ones today. And don't forget to get yourself a present too. Happy holidays, everyone. Yes, happy holidays. It's a great idea to get your favorite people some favorite Amber stuff as well. All right, on with the show. As I said, we mentioned this person back in September in our headlines part of the show. Who knew he was going to come on and be a guest? But we're happy to have him. So Kieran Lovegrove, come on in. Hi,
Hi, happy to
Kieran.
be here.
Oh, good, good. So happy to see you. Now, you made news last September by coming out as bisexual. So, why did you feel the need to do that?
Well, the funny thing is I originally came out as bisexual in the baseball capacity back in 2019. And I understood that if it became public knowledge, it would be a media firestorm and people would blow it out of proportion for what it really is, which is just my intrinsic innate sexuality. And so I kept it quiet, but along with the articles I was doing for ESPN regarding minor league living conditions, I felt it was important in telling my story to let them know that, you know, the culture of fear in baseball that consumed me for so many years prevented me from living my most authentic self. And I'm glad that I finally got to the point where I felt comfortable enough to do so.
You had come out to your team earlier, is that?
Yeah, I had really come to terms with my sexuality at a young age. I was 12 when I knew for sure. And so carrying that along for 10 plus years where I really just knew it inside and didn't want to talk about it to anybody else. And as I got into my 20s and I started to just say, hey, this is who I am, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And, um, I really, before I continue with the story, I just want to take the time to thank everyone who came before. So for me, being a heteronormative presenting male to come out as bisexual, it wouldn't be possible without decades and decades of people really fighting for their cause and living openly and not having the ability to live closeted as I did. And, there's been a bunch of people telling me, oh, what you did was brave, what you did was so courageous. And I really want to make sure that that gets passed on to the genuinely brave and genuinely courageous people who lived authentically from the start and paved the way for athletes like myself to come out and say, here we are.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you very much, Karen. So, tell me about your history in minor league baseball. Tell me about it. How did you get started and your career?
Yeah, so I was drafted out of Mission Viejo High School in California in 2012 in the third round by the Cleveland Indians. So I came out of the draft with a decent amount of money and at 17 years old thinking I could take on the world with it. And I ran into every roadblock along the way, usually ones I was putting in front of myself, including, I had this chip on my shoulder thinking, all right, this is a business. I'm going to treat it like a business. I'm not here to make friends. And I think that ate away at me and made me very lonely. I wasn't a very nice teammate. I wasn't a very good person to be around. So I spent my time in the Indians really growing up, and they took enormous care to help me do so. And if it wasn't for the staff there, I don't know that I would be in the position I am today. And so I was with them all the way up until 2018, where I had one of my best seasons and I became a free agent. So I'd spent 7 years with the Indians. I became a free agent and I went on to the Giants and Baltimore and the Dodgers and the Angels, as most baseball players do. The majority of us kind of bounce around. And I noticed that the conditions had no real standard across the board, and that moving from one organization to the other might result in significantly worse food or a staff that may not present information as well to you. And this compounded in this past year where I was with the AA for the Rocket City Trash Pandas under the Angels affiliation.
Oh, wait a second. I love the name, the Trash Pandas.
The Rocket City Trash Pandas. So they're based in Madison, Alabama, which is right next to Huntsville, which has a huge aeronautic and space industry. And so they rebranded, and this was their first season, inaugural season. And while we were preparing to leave spring training, to give a little background, you typically only get 2 or 3 days as a heads up of where you're going. So about 2 days before we flew out, we were told, hey, you're going to Alabama. You need to procure an apartment for 6 months, and you need to have that done within 5 days. Now, the team gave us a list of apartments, and we started calling around, and none of them could work with us. They either couldn't do a short lease. If they did, the rent went way through the roof. Mind you, 90+% of minor leaguers are making less than $15,000 a year. And we have to pay for our own apartments. We typically have to pay to, ship our cars out. And so we called around and none of these places would take us. And it got to the point where I just kind of lost it. And I went on this whole rant through the locker room during spring training because I had seen it happen for now 9 years. And I knew it was happening before then too. And so I took it upon myself and I started calling around. And finally, we get a hold of an apartment complex where they say, we have the space, but it's being rented out by the minor league hockey team until May, or until the end of May. So until then, we were doubling up in hotels. Guys were paying $1,000 every 2 weeks to live in a hotel. And mind you, most of the guys hadn't even made a paycheck yet, because we don't get paid until 2 weeks into the season. And we only get paid for the 5 months that we actually play baseball games, not for the 11 months that we train. So it's, the minor league experience is maybe not what everyone has thought it seems to be.
So what do you see as the, we know what the cause is, but what do you see is the solution to this?
Well, this kind of ties into what I started doing this year, which is advocacy work and reaching out to players and letting them know, hey, we're not going to let this continue happening. That we want to start to organize players and get their voices together so that we can go back and dictate the terms of our work. We are the top 0.1% of baseball players in the entire world. People may think minor league baseball is a lesser version of Major League Baseball. And from a talent perspective, it's absolutely not. I mean, the gap is infinitesimally small. And it may be an ingrown toenail. It may be a guy having to leave for the birth of his child that gives you a chance to be in the big leagues. It may just be pure luck, or it may never come around. So you have some of these, truly elite athletes. And for 7 years, they get paid a seriously diminished wage. Most guys at AA were walking away with about $1,800 after tax before paying rent per month.
Do you think they should be paid more, or should the teams have a better program in place for their players?
Well, I have my thoughts on this, and I truly believe that it's time for minor league baseball to be rebuilt. It is some of the best baseball on the entire planet in 120 quote unquote backyards. These are smaller cities, they have very dedicated fan bases, but they've been left behind by Major League Baseball. To me, I think it's time to reinvest, to provide housing, which is something that the MLB has said that they're going to do, but the proposal they came out with did not have any of our opinions or discussions relating to minor leaguers. So it was still very out of touch with our reality.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go.
I was going to say, the next thing would be fixing the pay structure. So the pay structure is based off a 100-year-old piece of legislation called it's MLB's antitrust exemption. And if you're a non-unionized worker, it allows them to dictate what you are considered as an employee and what you're paid. So for minor league baseball players, we are considered seasonal employees. And so therefore, based on the hours we actually work, we're paid about $4 an hour during the season. And we don't get paid in the off season at all.
Now, Burlington has the Lake Monsters, and you played against the Lake Monsters when you were part of Mahoning Valley. Now, what was that team?
That year, so that was short season baseball. Now, short season baseball has been eliminated by MLB. It was kind of a redundant thing to have because guys would go from college to short season. It was just a ton of stress on those players. So they got rid of short season, but it was some of the most fun I had in baseball. And Burlington, Vermont specifically, I talk about as one of the few cities that I absolutely loved exploring during my time in minor league baseball. So that would have been 2014, 2015. I think maybe 2015, that was the year where I really went out in Red Square and had my time. But those days are long past that, I'm glad to say.
Well, you'll have to come back to Burlington. It's still a great city, and they've changed the Lake Monsters into it's a college league. It's a regional college league.
I think they've expanded it to one of the summer leagues.
And we had the highest attendance of the league this year, and it's played at Centennial Field, which is the oldest ballpark still in use in America. So it's a great thing. So what other good experiences did you have in minor league, and who were some of the famous players you played with or who became famous?
Good experiences. There are too many to name, despite the issues surrounding minor league baseball. I think we as players really cherish all of those kind of to put it bluntly, terrible moments. You know, a bus breaking down on Memorial Day when you're 2 hours into a 9-hour bus ride, and you stop at a gas station in the middle of upstate New York that is, 200 feet down from a strip club, and that's closed, so no one can go there. And you just sit at the gas station and you drink for 5 hours waiting for the next bus. And that's your Memorial Day. But you're with your teammates. You're with your kind of temporary family. Yeah. Each time you join a team, you get very close with these guys because you spend near 24 hours a day with them. And getting those little memories and those little moments are pretty special for me personally. Not that he was a major league player, but one of the guys I did get to play with in my youth actually was the first openly gay active professional baseball player. So David Denson in the 2016 season came out and was the first active player to ever do so. And I was lucky enough to play with him as a kid, and he was one of the nicest players I ever got to spend time with. Having that connection is very kind of special to me. And then moving through, I've gotten to play with so many incredible guys who are now in the big leagues and doing just spectacular work. Lucas Giolito is a star among stars on the field, off the field. So I cherish my moments and my connections in baseball. I really do. But I feel that it is time for an improvement across the board.
You were in the minor leagues how many years?
9. So from 2012 through 2021.
And you've retired?
I haven't put in my paperwork. The end of our season was marred by COVID cancellations. Our entire coaching staff got sick for the last 4 games, and we as players decided it was not safe for us to go back to our family under those conditions, so we shut it down. That felt like a very empty, sad ending to me, to what has been a up and down and left and right career. But I've loved it so much that I want to train, and getting up and coaching with high school kids again and seeing their love for the game has re-sparked my joy as well. So I am training, and if I get an opportunity, that's great. But if I don't, I have a lot of opportunity in this game outside of playing. And I found that coaching is just as fulfilling.
You're a high school baseball coach now.
Yes.
Tell me about that. You said you enjoy it, but what do you like about it?
Well, I wasn't really sure. This is my first foray into coaching, and I wasn't sure how the kids were going to receive me as a coach, because I told them from the first day, I'm going to coach you as if you're professional players. I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to dumb it down. I want you guys to understand these concepts because I believe that you can. And I've been working with them now for about 2 months, and I just had a moment the other day that really cemented and affirmed my time coaching. One of the players messaged me and he said, "Hey, coach, I just want to thank you because before you came around, I probably wasn't even going to try out this year. I wasn't having as much fun. And when you came in your coaching style, it just made me love the game again." And I'm sitting there on the patio and I'm in tears. I'm bawling. And I show my partner and I'm like, he was so nice to me. It completely changed the way that I view what I get to do in this game. And now I am actually trying.
So the high school kids, were they aware of you coming out as bisexual? Has that been an issue?
I haven't brought it up. The coaches know, and I've spoken pretty openly about it. I don't hide my life anymore. I don't want to. I don't feel that it was ever healthy for me to do so. But honestly, I think this generation of kids, it's not that they don't care. It's just, it is normal to them.
That's it.
And it's beautiful to see. Because where I'm coaching is, it's still a conservative area. And yet these kids are growing up with a far more open view than even I did going through high school between 2009 and 2012. And the lexicon has changed, and the epithets that get thrown around don't happen anymore. It's little changes like that have really happened across the board in athletics, and or at least in baseball, in my experiences. And that's really encouraging for me to see.
Okay, Leah has a question. Any batting tips? I play softball with Special Olympics and ended my coach's family planning last time. I was
Well,
Leah's a troublemaker. I got to tell you that.
the first tip I can give you is don't ask me for hitting advice, because I am not the one to ask. No, I've been pitching for 9 years, and tried to pick up a little bit on hitting, but the other day I tried to hit BP with the kids, and it just humbled me very quickly.
You've mentioned your partner. Tell us about your partner.
My partner, Selena, she and I met about 3.5 years ago in 2018 when I was playing in Akron. And we actually met almost specifically because of her dog. But she has been the absolute rock in my life through my transformative years, going from what I went through in 2016, where I was at the worst of my alcoholism and culminating in a suicide attempt, to coming out of that, finally finding myself a little bit, finding her, and then her staying with me and being my rock through trying to rebuild my personality and find who I really am. Without her, I just don't believe any of it's possible.
Have any other players contacted you saying, hey, thank you, I wish I could come out as well?
No, and I understand the hesitation to do so. Right now I'm in public media a lot, and I can understand that anybody wanting to avoid being outed would not come to me quite yet. But I have a lot of players reach out and just say, thank you for not only coming out and hoping to expand this game's diversity a little bit more, but to set the precedent for others who want to help them realize your teammates will lift you up. They really will. The experiences I had in my time coming out to teammates was overwhelmingly positive. And I think forming those really deep, meaningful connections with players, it helps you to do so.
Well, Kieran, I admire so much, your dedication to the sport, to the coaching, the high school, to coming out and being yourself. That is just so cool, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on tonight. And
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yes. So let's bring Ivy Dripp back in. So, Ivy, do you have any questions for Kieran?
Yeah. So actually, I know you asked whether you thought whether it was more pay or more support. But I'm actually just curious, because I know you're advocating for this very hard. What do you see as because obviously this is a very long process to fix all of what's going on in minor league baseball.
Yes.
What do you see as the first step towards fixing this massive inequality that's going on right now?
Well, the first step would be revoking that piece of legislation. So the antitrust exemption allows the MLB to do what they're doing. It is, by all standards, illegal, but because it's maintained that legislative space for 100 years, and it was actually kind of reinforced in 2018 with the Save America's Pastime Act that was put through with that massive omnibus bill, it helped to protect the profits of the corporations that run these teams. So, I really do feel that the number one thing we can do is treat these players as the athletes and pay them the worth that they bring. So minor league athletes bring an enormous amount of worth to the major league clubs. Mm-hmm. And they are disproportionately paid in response to that. You can sign a guy for $10,000. If he trains well for 4 years and really turns into a good ball player, he could be worth $15, $20, $50, $150 million. And so you have that massive return on one athlete, and you win. You're making money no matter what. Each of these athletes dedicates week after week after week, day after day, hour after hour to training and pushing their bodies to superhuman limits. We don't get paid in the offseason, as I said. So guys have to work 1-2 jobs just to put food on the table to replenish their bodies after training for 4 hours and then going to work a 6-hour shift. You have guys who can't see their families during the season because the pay is so low and you're having to pay rent. And this year I was doubled up 2 to a bedroom the whole year. And at one point, my catcher and I had to share a queen bed because I didn't have my bed in yet. And we had just gotten into housing and we weren't sure if we were going to have it. And so the logistics of the housing is a nightmare. This entire system has been untouched for decades. And it has just been left to rot and the infrastructure has crumbled. Now is, like I said, the time to build it back. Make sure these athletes are being paid what they're worth. Make sure they're getting the mental health resources that they need. Make sure they're getting fed proper food. that they're getting good sleep, that they have a place to put their head, and that they don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs in the off season, that they can dedicate their lives as much as they already are to training to win a World Series.
Kieran, do you have a question for Ivy Dripp?
Well, I heard Ivy mention that on the podcast. Everything has been talked about, and I am curious because I feel like this group would appreciate it. Have you ever talked about bonobos? Or
Sorry?
a bonobo. Are you familiar at all?
A bonobo? No,
Okay.
I don't. I'm not familiar with the term. There's a chance we may have talked about it, though.
Okay. So a bonobo is a slightly smaller chimpanzee. They broke off about 1.4 million years ago. There's a reason I bring it up. Okay. Well, let me preface. Does sex ever come up on your show?
Within the first 2 minutes of starting the conversation.
So then let me present to you a slightly different idea of human sexuality and see if it clicks. So about 1.2 to 1.4 million years ago, the Congo split through Africa, and there were two populations of chimpanzees split by the river. The chimpanzees on the north of the river had to compete with gorillas and other chimpanzees for resources, while the smaller founding population south of the river did not. And something very strange happened in their behavior. So chimpanzees are patriarchal and extremely violent animals. They have patriarchal societies in which they patrol their borders, and if they run into another troop, they will rip and kill that male apart. Now, bonobos from the same lineage, without the competitive gene, formed a cooperative gene. And in their cooperative gene, they picked for something very specific. And it was the ability to reduce tension through sex. So bonobos, instead of being hyper-violent animals and patriarchal, are a matriarchal society in which they engage in sex with everybody. It's completely egalitarian. And it reminds me of a certain species.
I wonder what species you're referring to.
And I wonder if cooperation maybe got us to be the dominant species on the planet. And if that cooperation was founded in something as simple and as crucial to reproduction as sex.
I think you just gave me a full hour of podcast content. I think just happened there.
Bonobo.
I hope Trish was watching.
And when you think about human sexual behavior, there seem to be some similarities. So that's something I just wanted to give you that because you can go watch videos on YouTube of it. It is astonishing to see. Yeah, but I guarantee that is at least an hour episode, if not a few.
Well, we'll have to watch that. We do have some. Cousin Craig, who's a Red Sox fan, wants to know what your best pitch is, Kieran. And did you ever have a problem tipping pitches?
Okay. So for my whole career, I've been a fastball pitcher. I've been up to triple digits. The hardest I ever threw was 101. And then when I stopped being able to do that, guys started to get on my fastball a little bit more. So I developed a slider this year, and that actually became my best pitch for the season. But there was about a month and a half span this year where I couldn't get anybody out. I mean, guys who were hitting under 200 or knocking balls out of the ballpark 2 inches off the ground and turning around 97-mile-an-hour fastballs. And I went up to a buddy of mine because it was a game against them where they just seemed to hit everything I threw. And I went up to a buddy of mine who had spent 7 years in the Indians org with, and I said, "Hey, do you guys have something on me?" And he goes, "I don't know. We might." And I said, "So you do. You absolutely do have something on me." And at that point on, I had to be very conscious of it because if you give a professional hitter any sort of an advantage, they're good enough to do it. There's an old saying, they could hit a bullet if they knew where it was going to be.
Yeah. We also have another comment here from Dan. Can you take your shirt off? Sorry, I have trouble listening to sports topics. I wish we had gotten that earlier.
I don't know if you want to see all of 170 pounds of me not working out for a couple months because I've been working too hard. I haven't been able to keep my weight on.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for dropping by Amber Live tonight. Kieran, good luck in your advocacy and your baseball team, and play another year. I want to watch. I want to follow you.
I will do my best and see if the team likes me.
All right. And Ivy, congratulations. Good luck on your podcast, your bingo, and get out there, girl. Get out there to your public.
I will. I promise.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Oh, wasn't that a great conversation? I love the interaction between the guests. All right. You know what time it is for now? It's time for Rocco. Rocco, are you here?
Oh, hey, Amber. How you doing?
Rocco, that looks like the tree we had in our caption tonight.
Yeah, I didn't see the caption yet.
Okay.
You know, I was a little busy. I'm sorry. What are you going to do?
So tell me about your tree.
It's a fake tree. It's got lights on it. And I'm hanging all these ornament thingies on it. This tree's got balls, let me tell you.
Yes. And I like your red jacket. You're very seasonal there.
I'm getting festive. You know, I'm feeling the season upon me, so to speak. It's pretty awesome. I love it.
What do you love most about it?
I like the eggnog.
Yes.
I can only get it once a year. It's ridiculous. I think eggnog should be available throughout the year. You know?
Some people do make their own eggnog. You could try that.
We're talking a little bit of craziness here. I don't know about making any eggnog. I like to take it out of the carton, pour it in the glass, and drink it up. That's what I do.
Now, my good friend Lady Zeno used to put eggnog in her mudslide, or she would make a mudslide with eggnog. That was good.
That sounds pretty good.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind some of that.
Yes.
So the show's going pretty good tonight, though.
Yeah, until now.
Until now, a dead stop. Right? As usual. But, you know, I was thinking, because you guys, you know, I know Russell's always saying, hey, everybody says you're funnier when you got props and stuff. Well, you know what? There's budget restrictions here. I got issues. So you're going to imagine some props tonight.
Okay.
I'm thinking, with all this talk about baseball and bingo and all this stuff, it reminds me of this idea that I had. Let me tell you about it. Now, I was thinking about approaching the Long Island Ducks, a local, you know, farm team here of the New York Mets on Long Island. And I'm thinking of incorporating bingo and baseball. Everybody who goes into the stadium gets a bingo card. Now, you might be like, what the hell am I doing playing bingo at a ball game? Hey, this is where the fun begins. So, somebody gets a single. If you got a single, you poke that dot and you say, hey, all right, that's like a B. And then somebody maybe gets a triple, which isn't easy to do. And you got a triple and you go, boom, hey. And next thing you know, somebody's yelling, bingo! And everybody else throws their popcorn and beer at them. And you're talking about fun, right? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but that's what I'm thinking could be fun. I'm also thinking about incorporating hockey and, you know, lacrosse and sumo wrestling. I think that'd be fun. Or maybe hockey with those robots. You know, the scientists that make those robots, the killbots? Think about it. A hockey team versus a team for the killbots. They kill the hockey players as they're trying to get a goal. Oh, talk about a ratings boost.
Oh, is this a Zamboni lead in?
Well, yeah, you got the Zamboni who's going to be the center of attention the whole time because the Zamboni never leaves the ice. It keeps running over the players and the bots. And eventually, of course, the Zamboni wins. I'm telling you, I got a lot of ideas, sports-related, bingo-related, Christmas balls. I got a million of them.
What's on the top of your tree there, Rocco?
I don't know. Let me see. Hey, it's an angel. Look at that.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, you shut up, all right? You think there's bacon in the house or something. Come on.
And what's your dog's name?
Which one? There's two of them.
Oh yeah?
There's Abby Normal and Rizzo.
Oh, who was barking there?
Both of them.
Okay.
Oh, one barks, they both bark.
Very good. Anything else tonight, Rocco?
Yeah, you know, I'm just decorating. I've been decorating a lot. I come home, I go outside, I put up Santa. He's not working. I got to find a light bulb. So where's the light bulb? I got to go to the store. And no more incandescent lights. I got to find one of those LEDs or some of those other things. I don't know what I'm buying anymore. It says this is a 40-watt bulb, but it lights like a 75-watt bulb. What the hell does that mean? What am I buying?
I don't know.
Amber, this is freaking me out. Christmas is too much pressure. I'm telling you. Hanukkah. Maybe I should be celebrating Hanukkah instead. 8 days, you just light a candle, you say a prayer, you give a notebook or something. That's it. Boom. And you eat brisket and some fried potato stuff.
I think you're onto something there, Rocco.
Right? Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Rocco?
I think I've said enough.
All right. Well, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, all right. Woo.
Thank you, Rocco Zamponi. Hey, Jack, come on in.
Hey, Amber. Good show tonight.
Thank you. Power Kitchen there. Pretty diverse guests there. That's pretty
My
cool.
secret ingredient.
Aha. All right. So let's show the picture. Did we get any captions?
We got 2.
All right.
And the first one comes from Big J, who says, a bear tree. What to do?
Ooh. I know Big J decorated his room up. He was showing pictures on Facebook.
Oh, did he use anything like this to decorate?
Not quite. No, but I think we gave him some ideas.
And the other one came from Cousin Craig, who says, the tree of misfit toys.
Ah, that seems logical right there. Very good.
It's a real misfit tree.
Yes. Nice group of people there in the comments tonight.
Yeah. We had a
All
lot
right.
of people commenting in. So thanks,
Yes.
everyone, for liking and sharing and subscribing and helping to keep our numbers going on up.
We like that. Russell, come on in.
Hello, hello.
Russell, another good job of rounding up some guests. That was a great conversation. I think we learned a lot and threw a spotlight on some things as well.
We
which is
did.
good. Always good. So what do we have coming up next week?
Next week is another round of great guests. We have 2 amazing guests, one of whom is Bullseye the Clown that we were connected with through our friend Gary Buck. And Bullseye is a professional clown, and he has a whole program that's an anti-bullying program that he does with his clowning. But he also... it's my understanding he has traveled and worked with the actual Patch Adams, the doctor who does the clowning. So that should be some interesting stories there. And then our dear friend, the Church Mother, will be popping in. She has a new cookbook out, and we'll be talking about her cookbook and possibly cooking some things for us if we're lucky.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Wearing the Power Kitchen shirt next week and something else today then.
you might have to wash it and wear it again, Jack.
We'll wear the same thing twice in 2 weeks in a row. So
People will talk. People will talk.
All right. Looking forward to that, Russell. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you. You too.
All right. All right. Another week wrapped up, episode 87. So we'll be back next week for episode 88. Have a great week, folks. Be safe. Stay warm if you're in the cold climes. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, I heard that Rusty Peen has a master's degree in linguini. Don't you mean linguistics? What, are you kidding? Have you ever heard that guy talk?